Hello. There we go. Okay. We're using this microphone right now while I take out my other ones. So sorry that I did not have that part prepared, but give me a second. I just realized, oh, my other light is on. For some reason, the lighting is looking a little bit different today, probably because of the weather outside. But anyway, hello Jane, how are you? I'm so happy to see that you've got the all clear. Oh, it must have been like, I can imagine just how stressful the last year has been, right? Congratulations. What a huge sigh of relief. I'm so happy to know that you're good. You're good. You're doing well. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's see, the last 4 months. Okay, got it. To me, it felt like a year, but I feel like a lot has happened in the last 4 months. Maybe that's why it feels like a year to me. Um, but yeah, let me just very quickly, I'm just gonna plug this in. I'm plugging in my lapel microphone. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure my desktop is muted. Okay. Oh, this is not the correct thing to take out. But yeah, so I think what I want to do is start off today's stream by a funny little update. I called it. I knew that some weird like bot was going to ding my video for the Chaminade, and sure enough, it was. Even though it is public domain, they're still preventing me from monetizing that video. That is only one stream though, and right now I do not have the energy to dispute it again. I might tweet at YouTube, or I might not. I don't have a lot of energy right now. So, but yeah, I'm just going to take it as a compliment that they think that I was a recording, even though I am not. So yep, I called it. And this is why there's just some music out there that I don't really want to play on camera too much, because yeah, the whole DMCA kind of system on YouTube is kind of broke. So it is what it is. I'm just choosing not to expend my energy to be mad about it. We'll see. So if you guys want to support me in other ways that YouTube clearly is not, then please consider becoming a member of this channel. You guys will always get 24-hour early access to my videos, among some other perks. I have not worked out the other perks, partially because I am just I'm still feeling it out. Yeah, just kind of feeling out what is actually feasible for me to do. But yeah, I know. I summon the YouTube gods. Thank you, Midnight Moth. I don't know, man. Like, part of me is just kind of tired. I'm just tired of constantly fighting the DMCA. It's extremely tiring. This is not the first video that has, just a complete, that the other party claims that they own it, but it's like, it's public domain. I don't understand why they think that it's theirs. And it's not even the correct song that they DMCA'd. They called it a sonata. So I don't know what's going on. But that's just the one video, and I probably will lose $1 from it. So I just think that for my time, it's not worth it to fight it. So yeah, I do ask that, yeah, if you guys want to, you know, support, then becoming a member is probably the best way to go about it. So yeah, Chaminade rolls in her grave, actually, because Chaminade is a lady. Hello, Michael. How are you doing? So, oh, Jane, I just saw that you're asking how me and John are doing. We're doing okay. John is doing much better. He's at work. So, I am feeling, I was correct. I felt the exhaustion start yesterday. So just kind of feel slow, and like it just takes me a little bit longer to get myself together. You know, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to follow my schedule for today, one thing at a time. I'm going to let you guys know that I am, like, my energy level is not very high right now. So, yeah, it's just your typical post-caregiving crash. So, I am very lucky. I recognize this, that I'm very lucky as a caregiver, that I get breaks from caregiving. I recognize that that is not a luxury that most caregivers have. Caregiving is a 24-hour job. And so for me, when John is really not doing well, you kind of run on caregiver adrenaline. And when he's okay again, when his skin is on a break, I tend to kind of fall flat on my face. So this has happened often enough in the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, that I'm starting to be able to, like, predict that, like, oh, I recognize I am actively caregiving right now. And then I kind of keep track of how John is doing, how he's recovering. If he's starting to recover to the point where, you know, he can go back to work and he can, you know, he's cooking. When he comes back into the kitchen and starts cooking, that's when I know he's, like, really on his way to getting much better. And I think it's every time he comes back into the kitchen and he sends me out of the kitchen. So he'll send me out of the kitchen when he's feeling better so that he can make me, you know, make me fancy things and spoil me. That's when I start to let go mentally. Like, let go as in, like, I stop being so, like, I stop running on adrenaline. And yeah, on top of the fact that I definitely needed a holiday to get over my holiday. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Michael. How sweet of you to wish me a happy Flute Mother's Day to me. Thank you. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I can definitely feel, like, this morning waking up that I'm like, oof, like, this week is going to be kind of tough for me, just mentally, and physically. Like, I'm feeling physically really tired. So I don't want to cancel my streams or anything because I only have 3, but I do need to actually make a correction. So I think I'm going to do that after this stream. So I need to correct Thursday's stream. I apparently put that it's going to be at 11 a.m. But Pacific, but no, it's actually going to be 4 p.m. Pacific. So I will correct that after the stream. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm tired. I'm just tired. But yeah, I did want to do some flute playing today. So I'm very tired, so I don't really know what I want to do besides my checklist. So I think I might try out my checklist. I'm not going to give myself a like a timer. I know that normally I do. It's just that right now I'm so tired that I think seeing the timer go down is going to add extra anxiety that I really don't need right now. Normally it's just a great way to track how long I've been taking doing something, but I think right now is not an appropriate time for me to do that type of tracking. Normally, like if I'm in a really good state of mind, that type of tracking actually makes me very excited, and it makes me really like stay on track. It keeps me focused, and I feel a lot better afterwards. But right now I can kind of feel that that's going to give me a lot of, extra anxiety that I don't really need right now, especially as I'm kind of ramping up back into my kind of like my full playing capacity. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm recognizing about myself. Yeah. Michael, that's very sweet of you to say. Both of the things that you said here. Thank you. Now the second thing was more of like kind of a joke. So please don't take that too seriously. That like, that I truly think that I'm a dirty Western concert flute player. It was more so a joke. So please don't take that too seriously. And the other thing I wanted to mention was I do want to I think just kind of put a little bit of a boundary on the flute mother thing. I'm going to be completely real and say that I'm not the most comfortable with that title. And because I want to make it very clear that I am a content creator. And so I do not think that it is appropriate for me to hold any sort of like title that implies a power imbalance. I'm just here to review flutes, talk about how to play the flute, discuss how to play the flute, be a nerd, and that's it. The only time that I would have a true like bit more of authority would be if I was officially, like, for example, your flute teacher. And even then, I tend to not play into the power dynamic. I think that it is unhealthy for me. So I would appreciate it if you guys, from here on out, do not call me your flute mother. I'm not comfortable with that title. It places, I think, too much responsibility that is inappropriate for what I do here as a content creator. So I know that this is coming from a good place, that you guys mean well, and that, but I do want to place that boundary there, that at the end of the day, we don't know each other in real life. And it is really, really dangerous to put that kind of title on someone that you don't know in real life. This is a sign of a parasocial relationship, and I do not want to overstep those boundaries. So, yeah. So same for you, Midnight? You feel the same about like just kind of like ramping up again? Yeah, that's sort of where I am at. But yeah. So, let's finish up my tea here. And then I'm going to rinse out my mouth. I do have my water here. So put my tea over there, rinse out my mouth here. Thinking about it, I think I may not end up doing very in-depth practicing today. It might just be kind of running through my checklist, and just kind of evaluating where I'm at today. Especially after not practicing for a while, it's very important to do essentially an evaluation. If you don't, and you just go in expecting that you're going to be playing exactly the same way when you last left it, you're going to be in for a really rude surprise. So then you get frustrated, then it discourages you from practicing. It's just not a grand time. So, okay, let's switch to this microphone. And I'm just going to check that the limiter is not on. Let me see. Yeah, I turned off the limiter. So that seems to actually work a little better. You find you play better when you haven't played for a while. Get a pleasant surprise. I've been thinking about that. I think that has something to do with just being a little bit more relaxed going into playing. If you haven't played for a while, that seems to be what happens the most to people. So, yeah, I am pretty excited to kind of see where I'm at today. And then the other thing too is I have to keep in mind that I'm really exhausted right now. So, Amir, hello. Ooh, fantastic. I hope you guys have a wonderful celebration and you guys just have fun, stay safe, okay? But it's so fun to see you here, Amir, and just to know that you're doing well. Sounds like you're doing well. Very good. Okay, so I'm putting my flute together. Yeah, so no timer today because I am recognizing my mental limits today. Yeah, I totally understand, Michael, that you are just trying to be nice as well, but I want to just be very forthright with you guys that I think that is, I feel that is crossing a boundary. So let's just lay about boundaries there and keep each other safe, you know? Okay, so let's get to our practice screen here. I'm gonna turn this off, and I think I need to actually should probably put on my earplugs. I'm gonna go find the earbud tips. I replaced my like my Bluetooth earbud tips with these ones so that I can have an extra small in one ear and a small in the other, and it has made such a world of difference. So you know, random tip for like if you guys have small ear canals like me, and you know the earbuds that you guys get, you know, hurts your ears because it's too big, replace them with extra small or small earbud tips. It works out so well. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I should have another set in here. So, oh, you guys are so sweet to each other. Okay, so yeah, here it is. So Yeah, I think these are the two. So this one should be extra small. Ooh, they're new, so it does make it a little bit more challenging to get in over the, there we go, got that there, and then we should, I'm gonna put this one on. Yeah, these are surprisingly like a tight fit, which I guess is a good thing, so then it doesn't like pop off or get, you know, too loose over time. Okay, okay, I got it. So extra small goes in this ear. Yeah, and that's feeling really good. Okay, so usually I leave my left ear unplugged. So I'll just put that over here for now. Okay, let's see how we're playing today. Yeah, I appreciate it, Michael. Oh, Jane, you're going through the I'm not a patient anymore stage. Yeah, mentally it's kind of weird, isn't it? I feel it. I feel it. Okay, let's do a bit of playing. Harmonics first. Okay, so the nice thing that I'm noticing is that I don't have a problem like feeling where the note resonates in the mouth, and also the higher notes are definitely like I can feel where they need to resonate higher up in the mouth. So even that high C was coming out really easily this time. So not sure if I'm just getting lucky today with that. We'll see, but the evaluation here is that I can definitely still feel where I need to resonate the notes, like where to spin the air in my mouth. So good news there, which means that this should bode well for the rest of the practice session. But we'll move on to the next thing, which is Moyse de la Sonorite. We're on page 22, number 32. So these are interval leap exercises. Wow, we're actually getting to the last page. I'm amazed of the interval exercises. So looks like we are, is that A? A, C, E, G, A. Yep. So we're going between high A and every other note in our range. And we are, looks like we are doing the third articulation. So that will be, I think I'm going to scrap that. I think I'm going to go from the first articulation, which is everything tongued. So this might be a repeat from last time, but I don't feel very comfortable going straight into the third articulation, which I believe is slurring from the moving from the other notes to this bass note. So yeah, coming back into it, I think I need to tongue every single one first. So let's do that. Okay, so part way through, I remembered that I needed to do lower lip gymnastics, and that definitely helped, because just knowing where it resonates in the mouth is not always enough. Because you need to essentially manipulate how close you are to the opposite edge of the lip hole. The closer you are to the opposite edge of the lip hole, the faster the airstream that the opposite edge of the lip hole will catch. Thus, you don't have to push as hard on those high notes. So I had to also remember that when I retract the lip, it's just relaxing the lip and blowing more across. So I had to remember that. So, okay, cool. So now we are going to slur from the bass note, which is that high A, to every other note. Hey, more people are in here. Before I continue, let me say hi to everyone. Jody, hello. Oh, drinking your English breakfast tea. I just finished my Canadian breakfast tea. It's just maple black tea. Wonderful. Hey, Victor. Hello, Bill. You're a new subscriber. Oh, fantastic. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining today's stream. So let's see, you're a retired professional tenor and choir director, and you decide to teach yourself how to play the flute. Fantastic. You know, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. If not me answering, plenty of people in the chat can answer as well. Hey, Nicholas, how are you? Hello, hello. You only started about 10 days ago. Well, everyone has to start somewhere, right? Fantastic. Welcome to the flute community. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the next articulation of this exercise. Okay. Okay. I think the next thing that I need to remember to do is a little bit more quality lower support. So I will admit that over the last few weeks, I think just being on vacation and sitting for long hours on the plane and then like just not really watching my posture, I think some of my anterior pelvic tilt came back a little bit. So I noticed it last week. I was getting more bloated and stuff like that, which usually is a sign that that I've returned to poor posture. So I've been starting to work on my anterior pelvic tilt again around, I would say, the end of last week. So I just noticed it now while doing this, that I need to make sure that I tuck my butt in and then do the tiniest little squat. And then that will automatically engage my lower core for me. So, oh, Nicholas, you just had your last lesson with your prof last Friday. Oh my gosh. Like, at the same time, congratulations, but also that is so sad. Your professor has been amazing. But yeah, crazy how time flies. Agree. Okay. For kicks, I do want to do it. Let's just continue with the articulations, just because I'm noticing all these different things that I need to do. And I just kind of want to try it out on slightly different things. So we're now going to add good support to what I'm doing and see how that changes the sound. This time we will be going from the moving notes, slurring from the moving note to the bass note in groups of 2. So we'll do this. Okay, so something interesting I noticed was that if I remembered now that I need to move where that note is resonating, especially if I'm going up so high. I need to move it, start moving where I'm resonating the note before I actually get to the note. And then what I was like then my reasoning was, okay, if I have to do that, then I need to start moving my lip too. But I noticed that sort of like weirdly cuts off the air, so it doesn't have that swooping sound between the 2 notes. So what I'm realizing right now is I need to move the resonant, like with the resonant spot earlier, and my lip can actually swoop a little later. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, but yeah. Good support in those low notes. I think I may be just a hair almost overblowing those low notes though. So I am noticing that. Hey Jaden, how are you? Okay, so again, today is more so evaluation because I'm coming back to a real practice session after a really long time. So that's my thought right now. Oh yes, right now is a good time to drink some water. Okay, so we're just going to finish this off really quickly by doing this as written. All right, let's see what happens. Here we go. So it's slurred all throughout now. definitely a little slow on the reaction. I don't know how much of that is me coming back after not practicing for a while versus how tired I am right now. So I'm just going to leave that. Again, today is more of an evaluation than it is a true practice session. So yeah. Hey Henry, how are you? Oh boy. So you're really going for that audition. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna change this to number 33 for tomorrow. Okay, let's do a little bit of circular breathing. Nothing crazy. Again, we're just checking how things are. It's okay. I'm still kind of plugging the back of my nose though every now and then. I still have to convince myself to actually do it. But that's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna count that as okay. Definitely need to just keep doing it to convince myself to do it. But not actually as bad as I expected it to be coming back. But okay, we are next going to do Moyse 480 exercises number 270. What is that for today? 270. What is 270? Okay. All right. We are doing F harmonic minor. And we're doing a very long, just kind of like a very, very long scalar exercise. So Jaden, you tried learning flute B4. Are you talking, so fourth octave? Are you high B? Is that what you're thinking? But now you're very interested in recorder and tin whistle. Explore, do your thing. Oh, really? Well, I'm glad that the circular breathing improved. Definitely have to keep. I still have to like convince myself to do it. That I think will take a long time for me to get over. But cool. Okay, let's do this. So we're gonna do. Well, let me swab this out really quickly. We are going to just kind of go through this exercise and see what happens. Here we go. Nope. Okay, so a few things happened there. One was I realized that I actually am starting to overshoot when I go down to the low C. So I ended up with like a low B peeking in. The other thing is I am actively just trying to challenge myself a little bit more by sliding between the pinky keys when I go between low D flat and E natural. And that actually didn't go half as bad as I thought it would. I'm actually kind of surprised. I think I would like to try and keep my thumb a little bit more under the flute, because I noticed that when I'm doing that type of maneuver, that my thumb tends to be more behind the flute, which may add to more strain. So that was something that I noticed, but I couldn't necessarily change it as I was playing because that gets really awkward. I did notice that for some reason going up, when I'm ascending, playing long B flat going up is more or less a no-brainer. But then it's descending going from C to B flat that for some reason I realized that I really needed to think about that. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but that improved after about the halfway point. But yeah, those are, I would say, my kind of like evaluations on how that went. I think I would like to do it one more time just to see what I can iron out. I'm not really shooting for perfection here, but I'm shooting for improvement. And I am seeing like where my limits are right now. So I recognize with how tired I am that there is no way that I don't think I'm going to be able to perfect this. But at the very least, I can improve and learn something. And that is kind of the point of practicing. So yeah. Yeah, putting fingers down, definitely harder to control than lifting them up. Yeah, which I guess is exactly what I just described. Yeah, I can try it from my wrist. The only problem with doing that is with my hands being so small, it tends to roll my ring finger off of the hole. So this is actually why a lot of people with smaller hands will just straight up plug the right ring finger. I'm a little bit stubborn because I like being able to slide off of that key for pitch bends whenever I want to. So this is kind of like an added challenge for me. Yeah, there you go. So your professor also has the right ring plugged. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. So like it's just when you have a smaller hand, and also especially if your actual finger itself is just straight up smaller than other people's fingers, you literally have less surface area to cover the hole. So you know, there is a part of my brain that's like, should I actually plug it? I could just take it out for when I want to slide. I could do that. I think I'm lazy is what it is. And weirdly, the lazy is actually forcing me to kind of be a little bit creative with what I do here. So yeah, you have long pinkies. There you go. Yeah. So the wrist thing I think would work 100% of the time if I plugged that key like your professor. So yeah, I would say that a lot of people with smaller hands in the professional level do plug that key just because you legitimately just have less surface area to cover that hole. Excuse me. So yeah, let's try it again. Okay, legitimately, as I was doing that, I was like, I should just order some plugs. I should just order some plugs. And I should just put one in, I think. Because now that I say it out loud, I really can just pop it out if I want to slide for a specific song. You know, like it's very, very easy to do. So I change my mind. I eat my own words and I change my mind. I think in my next shipment of things to review from the Flute Center, I'm going to ask them to pop in a pack of plugs for me. I'm going to write this down. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, I think, yeah, I'm just going to get just your typical, it's like $5. Not a problem. Okay. I think what I probably need to do is create a little list of like my next shipment from Flute Center, what I want to do. So I'm just going to create, so yeah, flute plugs. Because now that I think of it, I'm tired of wrestling with it. I feel like I've wrestled with it enough that I know what to do if I don't have a plug. Like I know the limitations of my hand now. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, the whole like C-foot joint thing. So I was actually talking about how I was looking at flutes in Singapore and I was at the Yamaha store and you like can, you know, like when you look at the different models, so they had the same model C-foot next to B-foot. It's literally like whichever one you want, 50-50. So I'm not surprised that in music school in Japan, it's 60-40. I'm guessing 60% B-foot, 40% C-foot. It just seems to be just a very normal part of the market in Asia, which is cool. I wish that it was actually that way here because it really does lighten up the flute quite a bit if you never play low B. I play low B all the time, so I can't really get away with it. But yeah. 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 I also agree that it's misinformation, that the whole, you know, that there's an acoustic advantage to like inline or whatever on it. That's not acoustically how the flute works. It doesn't matter where, like rotation wise, where on the tube the tone hole is. Like that's the whole thing about how the closed G sharp key even works, is because it actually shares the same exactly where it is on the other side. You know, like the whole premise of how the closed G sharp hole even works is that it doesn't matter what rotation the tone holes are, as long as that it's at the correct length, at the correct length of the flute. So yeah, I feel it. Like I don't. Oh yeah, the convertible foot joint. So I was actually, when I first purchased this flute, I was actually considering the convertible, but it was too expensive for me at that time, which is another reason why I really do these days, I really want to put it out there that like it's always better to save a little extra, save a little longer so you can save extra. Because yeah, I mean, like I do kind of wish that I had a convertible foot joint, but it seems a little too extra to only order the foot joint now. Because then what do I do with this B foot joint, you know? So this is just something I'm living with these days. So delicate. Yeah, I think that was the other thing too. That was the other thing too that was in my consideration when I bought this flute too, was that like I wasn't sure what the what repair would look like for something like that. You know, would I mess it up myself? Because as I've mentioned before, I have a very heavy hand with everything. So oh, so your first teacher's teacher had a convertible Brandon foot joint. He says he kept it on C most of the time. I would imagine that's the case. Like you would only put the B on if a very specific piece had a B in it, you know, which is like, to be fair, once in a blue moon. Yeah, kind of like the oboe clarinet bridge. Okay, okay. Yeah, so I am putting these plugs in for in my next shipment from the Flute Center for sure. If you guys have, because I know that some, let's see, I know that you guys wanted to hear some stuff. Let's see. You guys wanted me to review the Nianzi horns, right? Nianzi. Okay. So we'll see what we want to do here. Okay. We'll see what we want to do. Did I know there are some parts of the Ibert where you can go up an octave optionally? I would love to know what are the rehearsal numbers. Yeah, because Nicholas, I think you might have been the one who told me about the one at the end. So I mean, Henry, I think you know that I do that one already, but I'm curious for the other ones. Yeah. Okay, cool. So when you get the, take your time, but whenever you get the rehearsal numbers, I'll mark it in my music too as an optional 8VA. Let's just whip out a piccolo instead, play the beginning bit. Okay. For now, while you find the rehearsal numbers, I'm going to start my drilling, I guess. Okay. There's one in the first movement at the recap in B flat minor. What? Oh, do you mean at rehearsal 20? Some people do that one octave higher. Because that part is in B flat minor, isn't it? The like those three measures at rehearsal 20. That is really mean to do that one octave higher. I could see how that would go seamlessly into the fourth measure though, because I guess fourth measure is when you go back to the original. More than 3 measures? According to one source, Ibert wrote it originally as 1 octave higher. Oh, that is so mean. 4.5. Let's see. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, I understand. I can see that. That's really freaking mean though. That, oh, that would explain that weird jump, eh? Interesting. Yeah, do a top C. Yeah. Okay. That's super interesting. Let me write that down. I mean, I may not do it just because that's so insanely mean, but it might be fun to try it. Like, who's to say I can't try it, right? So I'll put here 8 VA optional. You know what? We're not writing it. We're going to type it. So 8 VA optional. So original draft basically is what we're looking at, right? So we'll now do this. So there. And then I'm guessing at the, oh, that would actually flow really nicely. Going from the, like, since you mentioned it's 4.5 bars, you would be going from a high E flat to the high E natural. I could see how that would flow better. It is kind of a weird jump with it being an octave lower. Yeah, I see it. It's still mean, but yeah, you guys seem to agree with me. So 2 before 37. Let's see, 37. That makes sense to me. That absolutely makes sense to me. So Galway did it up to the high D flat until 3 after. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That absolutely makes sense to me. 8 VA optional. Is this also in the original draft? I'll just put that it's optional though. So basically to the end of the phrase, right? Thank you so much for your generosity, by the way, in sharing this with me. I mean, I really could have looked all this up myself. I totally realize that. But it's really fun to get this kind of interaction with you guys. Awesome. Thank you for posting the recording in Discord. Thank you. Okay, cool. Do you know anything about the third movement? Let's see. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, that sounds terrible about the Lieberman. Okay. Taking a look at the time here, I think what I'll do, just so that I don't wear myself out, I'm not going to do a true drilling. I'm just going to play it and see how it goes. You know, evaluate, you know, and then because I do want to make sure that I do a hard stop at 12:30 p.m. my time. That will allow me enough time to eat and also to correct this week's stream schedule. So, okay, here we go. It's not bad, but I think that my fingers are still slightly freaking out. But not too bad, not too bad. Let's play through the third movement and just evaluate section by section. last line was actually blocked, so I couldn't see it. I did a little bit of that from memory. Okay, not too bad. I can feel that it's my left hand tends to freak out a little bit if I have to use the G sharp key. So I think I need to calm that part down. The other thing that I was, sorry, now it's the correct microphone. The other thing that I was thinking about was that I think that I wonder how much clearer this is going to be when I plug my right ring finger key. I do wonder about that. I think it might be even cleaner. Yeah, the muscle memory is there. I'm so happy. Oh, laters, Jaden, thank you so much for joining. Bill, thank you so much. You are looking at a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So, just to be clear, I cannot actually pull this out of my butt without having practiced it for years on end. So I'm not like magical by any means. This is a lot of hard work. But okay, so yeah, so that is my evaluation there, is especially in common with what I was drilling right before that. I think it's these two fingers, my left hand ring finger and pinky, are definitely kind of like freaking out a little bit. So I need to just calm them down a bit. That means I did good work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's evaluate the next section now. It's the same problem. So I do want to try out that one part just to see what's happening. Okay, so I believe what's happening, because that was a lot clearer. I believe what's happening is that I'm aware that that high G sharp, high A flat tends to be resistant, and instead of resonating the note higher, and I actually think it has to be a little bit more forward. It is kind of like on this flute is like a little bit in common with how the high A is also kind of like in a weird spot, not where you would expect it to be. So I need to switch it to resonate in the correct spot. But because like if I don't do that, the sensation is that the note is very resistant. And because it's so resistant, I think I'm subconsciously just using my pinky key to hit the key harder, which for some reason my brain is thinking that that would help, but that doesn't do anything to help it. So I think that's what's going on there. Yeah, so as Nicholas was suspecting, it has to do with the air. It's not so much the air speed as much as it's where it's resonating in my mouth. My high F sharp to high A, those four notes tend to resonate high in the mouth but forward, which is very odd. It coincides with what I call this flute's problem harmonic. So whenever I go up to high G on while fingering a low C, and I play all the way up to a high G, that high G just is a bit of an outlier in terms of where it wants to resonate in the mouth. It does not actually follow the pattern that the rest of the notes have established. Generally speaking, your lower notes will resonate low and forward in the mouth, and then as you go higher, it will resonate higher and back. But for that high G, it resonates a little bit more forward than I think it should, like according to that pattern. So, and I've noticed that high F sharp to high A resonates there. You feel that on your manca head joint? Well, it could be. To be fair, I don't think that I really looked into it really hard on my previous head joint. So I don't know, it could be partially a manca thing. The F sharp is particularly more resistant compared to the Williams. Yeah, so what I find typically is that if you find very specific notes are resistant on the flute, for some reason, if you think of spinning the air just a hair more forward, David, thank you for the subscription, then it just pops. It just loses that resistance. So, yeah, like it probably feels resistant because we tend to not want to spin the air where the head joint wants you to. So it's just something for you to consider. So yeah. Wonderful. Hey, Sean, thank you so much for showing up and also for saying those really kind things. I just do ask that when really anyone enters the chat, saying hi is great, but make sure that you are keeping your topics on topic with everyone else so that it's like a nice flowing conversation. Yeah, so just wanted to put that out there. Also, it's not that the stuff that happens in our lessons is secret or anything like that, but I do want to just make sure that we keep our more or less most of our lesson things within our lessons and not have it come out here into this public forum here. So really it's just for your privacy, and also we don't want to turn my public streams into our lesson material. So appreciate that very much. Thank you. Yeah, it's not that, like, you guys will hear me talking about things that I've discovered while teaching, totally fair. And if you guys learn something interesting in your lessons and you want to share it with people and it's on topic, feel free to go ahead and share. It's just that I just want to make a clear boundary between my streams and my lessons. So thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, so let's see. So Midnight, you think your C7 is when you're doing it as a harmonic might be like my G. Yes, there are some flutes like that. So every flute has their own problem harmonic. It can be a lower note, it can be a higher note. And this gives you a lot of really good information because it tells you that the notes around that area, usually it's about 3 or 4 notes around that area, are probably, like, even with the real fingerings, are probably going to behave pretty much exactly the same way. So yeah. I appreciate it, Henry. Thank you for saying that. I think I want to set a good example. But the other thing too is I think I have been through enough in my life that I recognize that setting clear boundaries is just, that's how I can keep a good, healthy mindset. And also I don't want my chat to kind of like go off the rails, and off the rails does not necessarily mean like, inappropriate chatting and stuff like that. Sometimes it's really just down to like, making sure that when you come in to talk that you're not accidentally excluding other people. Like, I would say that is actually more or less the biggest reason for keeping my lessons and my streams separate, is because if someone comes in and starts talking about their lesson with me, that is going to make other people who don't take lessons with me feel very excluded from the conversation. And I do not want that to happen. So just kind of putting out there. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate how excited you are for the types of things that we are learning in our lesson. I totally appreciate that. But that is something to express to me in a lesson or over email or something like that instead of in a public forum. So, you just have to think about like what makes you uneasy. Why does it make you uneasy? If you can explain why something makes you uneasy, people are pretty much most of the time going to be on your side. If you just kind of explain things very concretely and, with understanding that they're not coming from a place of malintent, like you have to understand that most people don't do things to hurt other people intentionally. There's just a lot of like, we just don't realize, maybe we just haven't been in a certain social situation before, so we don't understand how to act in those social situations and what our actions can imply. And if you just kind of like explain what those actions can imply, everyone is pretty much on your side. If someone is not on your side and continues like pushing those boundaries, then it's time to cut that person off. Which I guess is another way of setting boundaries. But I would say more often than not, when you go through life, if you just explain where you're coming from just very calmly, people will rally by you. Like even the person that you are setting boundaries with, that person will rally against you. Now, if that person is abusive and like really like off in the head and is abusing you and stuff like that, you please go no contact. Okay, there's a certain limit to this, I will say. Yeah. I'm glad, Bill. I'm glad. Thank you so much for giving that response. So I'm trying to keep this space very welcoming to everyone. So, but yeah, Sean, I really appreciate that you just get it. I appreciate that on my end. So thank you very much. Okay, let's continue, shall we? So we're going to do the next section and do the same thing. We're just going to play it and reevaluate. Here we go. Okay, same thing. That high F sharp, again, I need to remember to resonate it in a different spot than I think it should. So just the high F sharp didn't really come out, but the fingers are more or less pretty okay. So I'm pretty confident that in the next month or so, I can really start running the Ibert over and over and over. Yeah. You like the side B flat lever? Thank you. I'm so used to it now that I don't even notice myself doing it anymore. I guess that comes with a lot of practice. So I feel like the fact that I don't even notice myself doing the side lever, the B flat lever anymore, I think that's a good sign, because that is giving me hope that the circular breathing can also become something that I just do without thinking about it. Now that I think about it, I have been studying the Ibert for like, I think 5 years, maybe even more than 5 years. If you study for something for like 5 years or more, it will get into your blood, basically. That is what Jasmine Choi said about practicing circular breathing. It takes you 5 years to get to the point where you're doing it without even thinking about it. So has it really been that long? For me, it has. because I definitely actually started studying it before I started doing it on Twitch. And I think I was on Twitch in 2020, right? I think it was maybe end of 2020, something like that. I forget. So I was already studying it before that. So yeah. I think I have footage of me trying it in 2018. So, you know, it's been a little bit off and on, but like more or less 5 years or so. But okay, not bad. We're going to do this last section now. There is a new fingering that I need to do though for that, the last two notes. So it might have been Henry, I think, who mentioned to do play the high C as a high B without the thumb. So that part, I think I need to like really think about. Well, why don't we actually practice that a little bit before we do the whole section? What was the fingering again? Okay. 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 You remember when I first started the first movement? Do you recall that it was unrecognizable? This is what I always tell people. I'm like, if I can go from playing this completely unrecognizable, like from how slow it was, to now, like anyone can do it. You have to stick to it, like as if you're working out, you know? You're not going to see a ton of changes to your body in like, you know, like a month, you know, but if you stay consistent, you will see a ton of changes in your body 5 years later, you know? So, okay, let's try this. Okay, so that last bit, I definitely need to practice a lot more often to get that in my brain. Like I kind of am like doubting myself right before I go and hit the high F, because going from the alternate fingering for high C up there is kind of like messing with my brain a bit. The other thing too I'm noticing is I think I'm overblowing those lowest notes. So because I want them to be very loud, I think I'm pushing way too much air. So I have to let them just resonate on their own. And then also I want to make it a little bit more musical. So thank you. Thank you, by the way, for saying that that sounded much more in tune. I think it was Henry who mentioned that the high B without thumb fingering on that high C before the high F. So you taught me the fingering for that high F. I think Henry was the one who taught me the fingering for that high B without the thumb. And it like, because that high B without the thumb, as your high C, is a lot flatter. So the pitch in terms of like the when you're listening for the pitch difference between the C and the F, even though my F7 is extremely flat, it sounds in tune now because the C is flatter. So it doesn't sound like a really flat fourth. Now it sounds like an actual fourth. So I like it. I just have to get used to it. So I do want to try not overblowing, not overblowing the low notes, just a little bit of it, and then we have to call it a day. Yeah, I don't think that's something I can fix in less than a minute. So I think we're going to leave that, but it's good to know what I need to work on. Unfortunately, I did not get to Genshin Impact today, but I really need to do a hard stop now. So actually, let me move this away. We're going to clean up my flute at the very least before I run away. Yeah. So by the way, Bill, thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes I forget how this piece sounds to people who've never heard it before. It's definitely a bit of a trip. You're welcome, Victor. And thank you always for reminding me to drink water. It's gotten to the point now, isn't this terrible? It's gotten to the point now where I see your name and I'm like, oh, I need to drink water. Hope you don't mind. Yeah, it was super fun to have you all in the chat with me. I just like, this has been really fun to just be super nerdy, figure things out, evaluate, like listen to how I'm playing in an objective, well, like as objectively as I can. You know, like I think that it's a great way to practice. You know, keeps you honest, but at the same time, understanding of yourself. So I think considering the fact that I'm absolutely exhausted right now, I'm very happy with how that session went. I think it was the right choice for me to not time myself. I think I definitely felt very relaxed while still being a nerd. So I think that's what I need right now. This is something that I hope that I am modeling well for you guys, that I want you guys to know that there's no perfect way to practice. You have to gauge yourself, be very reflective and also self-aware of what you need and what you don't need. So making these slight adjustments to your practicing can really help keep the act of practicing a safe activity, makes your practicing space a safe place. And, you know, if you're in a safe place and you feel like you're doing something, you know, because practicing actually is a very vulnerable act. You are constantly evaluating yourself and improving yourself. And that is it can be challenging for all of us mentally. And I think we have to be very careful about how we treat our practicing space and how we treat ourselves when we are practicing. So I seem like I have energy. I don't. But thanks, Ruth. How have you been? Yeah, if I was in tip-top shape, I think that I would have played better than today. So like I do think that all of the practicing has paid off because this has definitely become muscle memory. Like even my like tone production is muscle memory now. So yes, Pavlov conditioning, exactly. That Hey Bill, that's great that you're understanding what I'm doing. I'm always very conscious of the fact that people listening could have absolutely no background in the flute, and I want to make sure that you guys feel included, that like it's totally fine to be a fly on the wall, and listen in and stuff. And if you want to ask questions, I want this to be a safe space for you guys to ask questions. And I don't want you guys to feel ridiculed for not knowing something, because quite honestly, let's face it, guys, okay, for any seasoned flute players in here, I know that there are a lot of you. We have to really remember that what we do is a very niche thing. There, you know, in the grand scale of the world, not that many people play the flute. Okay. So it's this is a very niche activity. So like, you know, even though like I think we can often get just kind of like wrapped up in the flute world, and you know, if you get very deep into the flute world and very involved in the flute world, sometimes you forget that what we do is very niche. So worth it to just kind of keep in mind that what we do is, you know, actually in the grand scheme, kind of rare. So, you know, it's always good to keep that in mind so that, you know, at least this space here can be like a nice, just, you know, friendly, welcoming space for everyone. The Ibert today was amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, Jody, I love what you said there. Make choices that are comfortable to you. When you are comfortable, it shows. Yep. I have had, like, thinking back to my previous practice sessions where I think I really did not benefit from having a timer. I just would get so, like, I would get so, like, uptight. And that is not the way to practice. Like if you're uptight, you're gonna actually increase your blind spots as you practice, and that is not good. So yes, we're in this together. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. I really appreciate it, and hope to have you back in our, you know, future streams and stuff like that. We would love to include you in here as one of the regulars. It would be wonderful, but at the same time, no pressure. I know that life happens. Life happens to me. Okay. So, you know, if ever you guys ever feel like you have to withdraw or maybe just lurk, go ahead. We appreciate the lurkers here. I'm a lurker myself on other content creators' streams and videos. So like, I can't exactly expect you guys to not be lurkers too. Yeah. Um, mm-hmm. Yeah, you get too obsessed with a single passion something. Yes. Like, so I often feel that like we have to be able to get out of our own heads when we practice, and also like really gauge like mentally where are we and what can we take that day. I could tell that today I could not take drilling, but I was like, that doesn't prevent me from playing it and doing like a verbal analysis of it, right? Because I will still get something out of doing that, and that's what I can mentally take today. So, you know, too old for pressure. That's how I feel. There's just, I've been through enough life to be like, it's not worth it, you know. The pressure, the extra pressure that you give yourself in the practice room is just not worth it. So, hi Jimmy, I'm so sorry. I have to go, but I'm really glad that I stayed long enough to catch you. I hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, exactly. We have a capacity and we should balance it, as Ruth is saying. As always, give ourselves grace. Yeah, I feel like all of us get that advice all the time, but it is really hard to put into practice. Like telling myself today that I was not going to drill was really hard. It was actually very difficult, but I was like, I can't really argue with myself though. Like, if I can't take it mentally, I can't take it. There, I mean, what else am I going to do, right? So, oh, you're at the doctor's right now? I hope everything's okay. Whatever it is that you're getting checked up, I hope everything's okay. You have all of our healthy vibes and you know, all of the good vibes coming from this community to you. But anyway, I will take my leave now. Please take care of yourselves, guys. Do what you need for you. I hope that I have exemplified that today and shown you guys that it is okay to pull back where you need to. You can still get things done, but just at a slower pace, and that's totally fine and valid. If you are at a point in your life where you're so exhausted that you just need to rest, do that. All right? Like, if no one else is giving you that green light, we'll give you that green light. This community here will give you that green light. So do whatever you need to take care of yourself, because there is no music without the musician. Do your best to the best of your ability to take care of yourselves and stay happy, healthy, and safe. But at the same time, life happens and it's totally fine. All right? Love y'all so much. I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. and also Thursday at 4 p.m. But I'm giving myself Wednesday and Friday off. All right? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. Bye.